Part 1. The Lost Metal by Brandon Sanderson serves as the concluding volume of the second Mistborn Era, bringing together long-running character arcs and escalating conflicts into a story with far-reaching consequences for the world of Scadrial. Set several years after the events of the Bands of Mourning, the novel opens in a world that has continued to evolve both technologically and politically. Elendel remains the dominant power in the basin, but tensions with the outer cities have intensified, and the discoveries of advanced southern technology have accelerated an arms race that threatens to destabilize the fragile balance between nations. Waxilium Ladrian, now more seasoned and introspective than ever, continues to serve as both a nobleman and a lawman. His experiences in previous conflicts, particularly the revelations about harmony and the legacy of figures like Kelsier, have left him more cautious and thoughtful in his approach to justice. He is no longer driven solely by instinct or duty, but by a deeper understanding of the complexities that shape his world. Despite this growth, Wax remains committed to protecting Elendel and those within it, even as the challenges he faces become increasingly global in scope. Steris Harms, now Wax's wife, has grown into a central figure in his life and in the broader political landscape. Her meticulous planning and organizational abilities have proven invaluable in managing the complexities of modern Elendel, and she has become a respected presence in both social and governmental circles. Her relationship with Wax is one of mutual support and trust, offering him stability as he navigates the uncertainties of his role. Steris's continued development highlights the importance of adaptability and foresight in a rapidly changing world. Wayne remains Wax's closest companion, bringing his trademark humor and unpredictability to even the most serious situations. However, beneath his light-hearted exterior, Wayne has matured significantly, grappling with his past mistakes and striving to become a better person. His relationship with Wax continues to anchor both characters, providing a sense of continuity even as the stakes around them grow larger. Marasi Columns, now a respected member of the constabulary, has taken on increased responsibility and influence. Her intelligence and dedication have earned her recognition, and she is often involved in high-level investigations that extend beyond the boundaries of Elendil. Marasi's growth reflects the broader theme of societal change, as she represents a new generation stepping into positions of authority in a world that is becoming more interconnected and complex. The central conflict of the novel begins to take shape when Wax and his allies uncover evidence of a dangerous new substance known as trellium, a metal associated with the mysterious force known as Trell. This substance has unique properties that set it apart from the known metals of allomancy and feruchemy, and its presence suggests the influence of an external power. Trell, first hinted at in earlier books, is now revealed to be a significant and active threat, with agents operating within Scadrial to further its goals. The discovery of Trellium is linked to a shadowy organization known as the Set, which has been working behind the scenes to manipulate events and acquire power. The Set's activities include kidnapping, experimentation, and the accumulation of resources, all aimed at advancing their agenda. Their connection to Trell raises the stakes considerably, as it implies that they are serving, or at least aligned with, a force that exists beyond the influence of harmony. Wax becomes deeply involved in investigating the Set's operations, recognizing that their actions pose a direct threat to the stability of the basin. The organization's reach extends into both the political and economic spheres, making them difficult to confront through conventional means. This forces Wax and his allies to adopt a more strategic approach, combining their individual strengths to uncover the truth and disrupt the set's plans. As the investigation unfolds, it becomes clear that the set is working toward a specific objective involving the use of Trellium and other advanced technologies. Their plans appear to involve not only the destabilization of Elendel, but also the potential for large-scale destruction. This realization adds urgency to Wax's efforts, as the consequences of failure could be catastrophic. At the same time, Wax's relationship with Harmony continues to evolve. Harmony provides guidance, but his ability to act is increasingly constrained by the opposing forces within him. This limitation becomes more pronounced as the influence of Trell grows, suggesting that Harmony's control over the world is being challenged. Wax must navigate this uncertainty, balancing his reliance on divine insight with his own judgment and experience. The opening section of The Lost Metal establishes a world on the brink of significant upheaval. The convergence of technological advancement, political tension, and external influence creates a setting in which the stakes are higher than ever before. Wax and his companions are no longer dealing with isolated threats, but with forces that have the potential to reshape their entire world. As the story begins to unfold, the characters are drawn into a conflict that will test not only their abilities, but also their understanding of power, loyalty, and responsibility. The presence of Trellium and the set signals a shift toward a more expansive and interconnected narrative, setting the stage for a conclusion that will bring together the threads of the series in dramatic and unexpected ways. Part 2. As Waxilium Ladrian and his allies intensify their investigation into the set, the scope of the threat becomes far more alarming. What initially appeared to be a secretive but localized organization is revealed to be part of a much larger network with resources, coordination, and long-term goals that extend well beyond Elendil. The set has embedded itself in multiple layers of society, from business and politics to scientific research, making it difficult to dismantle through conventional means. This level of infiltration forces Wax and his companions to act with increased caution, as they can no longer assume that any institution is entirely free from influence. A critical development comes with the deeper study of Trellium, the mysterious metal tied to Trell. Through analysis and experimentation, it becomes clear that Trellium possesses properties unlike any known allomantic or ferrochemical metal. It interferes with Harmony's ability to perceive and influence events, effectively creating blind spots in his awareness. This discovery is deeply unsettling, as it confirms that Trell, or the force behind it, has found a way to counteract a god. For Wax, who has already struggled with his relationship to Harmony, this revelation adds a new layer of urgency and uncertainty. Marasi Columns plays a central role in advancing the investigation during this phase. Her position within the constabulary allows her to access sensitive information and coordinate efforts with other branches of law enforcement. As she follows leads connected to the set, she begins to uncover evidence of their broader ambitions. These include not only the accumulation of Trellium, but also the development of weapons and devices capable of causing large-scale destruction. Marasi's work reveals that the set is not simply seeking power within the existing system. They are preparing to reshape it entirely. Wayne, meanwhile, continues to operate in his characteristic manner, gathering intelligence through infiltration and improvisation. His ability to assume different identities allows him to move through various social circles, where he picks up valuable information about the set's operations. However, this phase of the story also brings greater attention to Wayne's personal growth. He begins to confront the consequences of his past actions, particularly his feelings of guilt and his desire to make amends. This internal struggle adds emotional depth to his role, as he seeks to prove that he can be more than the carefree figure he often presents himself as. Wax's own journey becomes increasingly complex as he grapples with both external threats and internal doubts. The growing influence of Trell challenges his understanding of the world, forcing him to consider the possibility that Harmony may not be able to protect Scadrial on his own. This realization places greater responsibility on Wax and his allies, as they must act independently in situations where divine guidance is limited or absent. Wax's evolving perspective reflects a shift from reliance on higher authority to a more self-directed sense of duty. Steris continues to provide essential support, particularly in managing the logistical challenges posed by the investigation. Her ability to anticipate potential risks and plan for contingencies proves invaluable as the situation becomes more volatile. In addition, her role expands into the political sphere, where she helps navigate the complexities of Elendil's leadership. Steris's growing confidence and adaptability highlight her importance not only as Wax's partner, but also as a capable figure in her own right. The tension escalates significantly when Wax and his team uncover a major set operation involving the transport and storage of Trellium. Acting on this information, they attempt to intercept the shipment, leading to a high-stakes confrontation. The encounter demonstrates the set's willingness to use advanced weaponry and coordinated tactics to protect their assets. Despite the team's efforts, the operation does not end in a decisive victory. While they manage to disrupt part of the plan, it becomes clear that the set has contingencies in place and is prepared to absorb losses in pursuit of their larger goals. This partial success underscores the scale of the challenge they face. The set is not a single entity that can be dismantled with one decisive action, but a network capable of adapting and continuing its operations even when individual components are compromised. For Wax and his companions, this means that each victory must be seen as part of a larger, ongoing effort rather than a final resolution. As the investigation progresses, new information emerges about Trell itself. The entity behind the name is revealed to be a shard, one of the godlike forces that shape the Cosmere, known as autonomy. This revelation expands the scope of the conflict dramatically, placing Scadrial within a larger cosmic context. Autonomy's influence is characterized by a desire for independence and control, often expressed through the manipulation of agents and the destabilization of existing systems. The set's actions, when viewed in this light, appear to be part of a broader strategy aimed at weakening Harmony and establishing a foothold on Scadrial. For Wax, this discovery reinforces the gravity of the situation. The conflict is no longer limited to the basin or even the planet itself, but involves forces that operate on a much larger scale. This realization brings both clarity and urgency, as it becomes evident that their actions could have consequences far beyond their immediate surroundings. By the end of Part 2, the narrative has expanded significantly in both scope and intensity. The set has been established as a formidable and far-reaching adversary, while the introduction of autonomy as the force behind Trell raises the stakes to an unprecedented level. Wax, Wayne, Marasi, and Steris find themselves at the center of a conflict that blends personal struggle, political intrigue, and cosmic significance. As they continue to pursue the truth and attempt to counter the set's plans, the challenges they face grow increasingly complex. The path forward is uncertain, and the margin for error is shrinking. With the influence of autonomy spreading and the set's operations accelerating, the stage is set for a confrontation that will test the limits of their abilities and their resolve. Part 3. As the full scope of the set's plans begins to emerge, Waxilium Ladrian and his allies realize that they are racing against time to prevent a catastrophe of unprecedented scale. The organization's activities, once fragmented and difficult to interpret, now coalesce into a clear and terrifying objective: the destabilization of Elendel through the use of advanced technology and Trellium-based weaponry. At the heart of this plan lies the potential deployment of a device capable of causing massive destruction, one that could devastate the city and fundamentally alter the balance of power in the basin. Marasi Columns takes a leading role in uncovering the details of this plan. Through her investigations, she identifies key members of the set and tracks their movements, gradually assembling a picture of how their operation is structured. Her work reveals that the set is divided into specialized cells, each responsible for a different aspect of their agenda, from research and development to logistics and execution. This decentralized structure makes them more resilient, as the loss of one cell does not cripple the entire organization. It also complicates efforts to stop them, as Wax and his team must identify and disrupt multiple interconnected operations simultaneously. A significant breakthrough occurs when Marasi uncovers evidence of a hidden laboratory where the set has been experimenting with Trellium and other technologies. This facility becomes a focal point for the investigation, as it is believed to house critical components of the weapon they are developing. Wax, Wayne, and Marasi plan a coordinated infiltration, knowing that the success of this mission could provide the information they need to prevent the set's larger scheme. The infiltration itself is fraught with danger. The laboratory is heavily guarded and equipped with advanced defenses, reflecting the importance of the work being conducted there. As the team navigates the facility, they encounter evidence of the set's experiments, including attempts to create new forms of allomantic and ferrochemical enhancement. These experiments highlight the extent to which the set is willing to push the boundaries of known science, often with little regard for ethical considerations. During the operation, Wax and his companions managed to secure valuable intelligence, including details about the weapon's design and its intended deployment. However, their presence is soon detected, leading to a tense and chaotic confrontation with the facility's defenders. The ensuing conflict showcases the strengths of each character as they work together to overcome the obstacles in their path. Wax's precision and control, Wayne's unpredictability, and Marasi's strategic thinking all contribute to their ability to survive and complete their mission. Despite their success in gathering information, the team is unable to fully dismantle the laboratory before being forced to retreat. This outcome reinforces the recurring theme that their victories are often partial, achieved at the cost of leaving other threats unresolved. The intelligence they have obtained, however, proves invaluable, providing a clearer understanding of the set's timeline and objectives. Meanwhile, Wax's relationship with Harmony becomes increasingly strained. The limitations imposed by Trellium and Autonomy's influence mean that Harmony's guidance is less reliable than ever. In some instances, Wax receives conflicting or incomplete information, forcing him to rely more heavily on his own judgment. This shift marks a significant turning point in Wax's character development, as he moves further away from dependence on divine intervention and toward a more autonomous sense of responsibility. Wayne's personal journey also reaches a critical stage during this part of the story. His efforts to confront his past and make amends come to the forefront, particularly in his interactions with those affected by his earlier actions. These moments reveal a more vulnerable side of his character, emphasizing his desire to grow and to contribute meaningfully to the fight against the set. Wayne's evolution adds emotional depth to the narrative, highlighting the theme of redemption that runs alongside the larger conflict. Steris continues to play a vital role behind the scenes, coordinating resources and ensuring that the team is prepared for the challenges ahead. Her ability to anticipate potential scenarios and develop contingency plans becomes increasingly important as the stakes rise. In addition, her involvement in political matters helps to maintain stability within Elendil, even as the threat of the Set looms large. Sterris's contributions demonstrate that the fight against the Set is not limited to direct confrontation, but also involves maintaining the structures that hold society together. As the group analyzes the information obtained from the laboratory, they identify the likely target of the Set's weapon, Elendil itself. The plan appears to involve the detonation of a powerful device within the city, an act that would not only cause widespread destruction, but also plunge the region into chaos. This realization adds a sense of urgency to their efforts, as they must now act quickly to locate and neutralize the threat before it can be carried out. Complicating matters further is the growing influence of autonomy. Through subtle and indirect means, this external force continues to exert pressure on events, shaping outcomes in ways that are not always immediately apparent. The presence of autonomy introduces an element of unpredictability, as Wax and his allies must contend with an adversary whose motivations and methods are not fully understood. By the end of Part 3, the narrative has reached a point of heightened tension. The Set's plan is now clear, and the potential consequences are dire. Wax and his companions have the knowledge they need to act, but the challenges they face are immense. The combination of advanced technology, coordinated opposition, and cosmic influence creates a situation in which success is far from guaranteed. As the story moves toward its climax, the characters are forced to confront not only the external threat posed by the Set, but also their own limitations and doubts. The path ahead will require courage, sacrifice, and a willingness to make difficult choices. With the fate of Elendil, and potentially the entire basin, hanging in the balance, the stage is set for a final confrontation that will determine the outcome of the conflict and the future of their world. Part 4. As Waxilium Ladrian and his allies race to stop the Set's plan, the final pieces of the conspiracy fall into place. The intelligence gathered from the hidden laboratory confirms their worst fears. The Set intends to deploy a devastating explosive device within Elendil, one enhanced by Trellium and advanced technology. The weapon is powerful enough to destroy a large portion of the city, causing massive loss of life and plunging the basin into chaos. Such destruction would not only weaken Harmony's influence, but also create the instability that autonomy seeks to exploit. The urgency of the situation forces Wax and his team to act decisively. Through careful coordination, they identify the likely location of the device and the key figures responsible for its deployment. However, the Set's decentralized structure and extensive resources make it difficult to pinpoint every element of the plan. There is little room for error, and even a small delay could have catastrophic consequences. Marcy Collins takes on a leadership role in organizing the response, coordinating with the constabulary and other authorities to mobilize resources across the city. Her ability to synthesize information and make strategic decisions under pressure proves critical, as she works to ensure that every available advantage is brought to bear against the Set. At the same time, she must navigate political constraints, as not all leaders are willing to act quickly or decisively in the face of a threat that is not yet fully visible to the public. Wax and Wayne focus on locating and neutralizing the device itself. Their search leads them through the industrial and underground areas of Elendil, where the Set has established hidden operations. The tension is constant, as they know that they are working against a ticking clock. Along the way, they encounter resistance from Set agents, leading to a series of intense confrontations that test their endurance and resolve. Wayne's role becomes increasingly central during this phase of the story. His willingness to take risks and his ability to adapt to rapidly changing circumstances make him an indispensable partner. However, it is also clear that Wayne is moving toward a moment of reckoning. His reflections on his past and his desire to make a meaningful difference come to the forefront, shaping his actions as the situation grows more desperate. Meanwhile, Wax faces the challenge of balancing immediate action with the broader implications of what they are trying to prevent. The set's plan is not simply an act of destruction, but part of a larger strategy orchestrated by autonomy. This understanding reinforces the idea that even if they succeed in stopping the bomb, the underlying threat will remain. Nevertheless, Wax knows that saving Ellendale must be their first priority. Steris plays a crucial role in managing the logistical aspects of the crisis. Her meticulous planning allows for the rapid deployment of resources and ensures that communication between different groups remains effective. She also works to coordinate evacuation efforts in areas that may be affected by the blast, demonstrating her ability to adapt her skills to situations far beyond the social planning for which she was once known. Steris's actions highlight the importance of preparation and foresight, even in the face of unpredictable danger. As the search for the device narrows, Wax and Wayne finally locate it within a concealed facility. The bomb, enhanced by Trellium, is far more complex than anything they have encountered before. Disarming it is not a straightforward task, as its design incorporates both technological and allomantic elements. The difficulty of the situation is compounded by the presence of set operatives who are determined to ensure that the device fulfills its purpose. The confrontation that follows is both intense and deeply personal. Wax and Wayne fight their way through the defenders, using their abilities in tandem to overcome the opposition. The battle is chaotic, with the constant threat of the bomb's detonation adding to the pressure. Every moment counts, and the margin for error is virtually non-existent. At the heart of this conflict is Wayne's defining moment. Recognizing that there may not be enough time to safely disarm the device, he makes the decision to act in a way that will ensure the survival of others, even at great personal cost. His actions reflect the culmination of his character arc, demonstrating his growth from a carefree and impulsive individual into someone capable of profound sacrifice. Wayne's choice is both heroic and tragic, underscoring the themes of redemption and selflessness that run throughout the novel. Wax, witnessing this act, is deeply affected. The loss and the circumstances surrounding it force him to confront the reality of what they are fighting for and what it costs. Despite the emotional weight of the moment, he continues to act, ensuring that the immediate threat is neutralized and that the city is saved from destruction. In the aftermath of the confrontation, the set's plan is effectively thwarted, but not entirely dismantled. Key members of the organization remain at large, and the influence of autonomy persists. The crisis has been averted, but the broader conflict continues to loom over Scadrial. This section represents the emotional and narrative climax of The Lost Metal. The stakes reach their highest point, and the characters are pushed to their limits, both physically and emotionally. The resolution of the immediate threat comes at a significant cost, reinforcing the idea that victory is often accompanied by sacrifice. As the story moves toward its conclusion, the focus shifts from the immediate crisis to its aftermath and implications. The events that have transpired will leave a lasting impact on the characters and the world they inhabit, shaping the direction of the future in ways that are only beginning to be understood. Part 5. In the aftermath of the crisis in Elendel, the city, and indeed the entire basin, begins to reckon with the consequences of the set's near-catastrophic plan. The destruction that might have occurred is narrowly avoided, but the emotional and political impact is profound. News of the attempted attack spreads quickly, shaking public confidence and forcing leaders to confront the reality that their world is no longer insulated from larger, more dangerous forces. The presence of Trellium, the influence of autonomy, and the reach of the Set all signal that Scadrial has entered a new and uncertain era. For Waxilium Ladrian, the victory is deeply bittersweet. The successful prevention of the bomb's detonation comes at the cost of Wayne's life, a loss that strikes at the very core of Wax's identity. Wayne had been more than a partner. He was a constant presence, a source of balance, and a reminder of the humanity behind Wax's pursuit of justice. Processing this loss becomes one of Wax's central challenges in the aftermath. His grief is compounded by the knowledge that Wayne chose his fate willingly, embracing sacrifice as a means of protecting others. Wax's response to these events reflects the culmination of his journey throughout the series. He has evolved from a lawman driven by instinct and personal codes into a figure capable of navigating complex, moral landscapes. The experiences of the past, his doubts about harmony, his encounters with powerful forces, and his personal losses have shaped him into someone who understands that justice is not absolute, but must be actively maintained in a world of competing influences. Wayne's sacrifice reinforces this understanding, serving as both a reminder of the cost of action and a source of inspiration for the future. Marasi Columns also emerges from the conflict transformed. Her leadership during the crisis earns her recognition at the highest levels, and she is offered opportunities to advance her career in ways that extend beyond the constabulary. In a significant decision, Marasi chooses to step away from traditional law enforcement in favor of a broader role that will allow her to influence policy and governance on a larger scale. This choice reflects her growth as a character, as she moves from reacting to events to shaping them, embracing the responsibility of helping guide her society through a time of change. Steris Harms continues to be a pillar of strength for Wax, providing support and stability during a period of profound loss. Her ability to adapt and respond to crisis proves invaluable not only during the events themselves, but also in their aftermath. Steris helps manage the practical and emotional challenges that follow, ensuring that Wax is not overwhelmed by the weight of what has happened. Their relationship, built on trust and mutual respect, stands as a testament to the importance of partnership in navigating uncertainty. On a broader scale, the political and technological implications of the conflict begin to unfold. The discovery of Trellium and the advanced capabilities of the Set prompt renewed efforts to understand and counter external threats. Cooperation between Elendel and the southern nations becomes increasingly important, as both sides recognize the need to share knowledge and resources in the face of a common danger. This shift toward collaboration marks a significant step in the evolution of Scadrial's global dynamics, suggesting that the future will be shaped by interconnected alliances rather than isolated powers. Harmony's role in these events also undergoes further clarification. The limitations imposed by autonomy's influence force Harmony to adopt a more restrained approach, relying on individuals like Wax to act where he cannot. In the aftermath, there is a sense that Harmony's relationship with humanity is changing, moving away from direct guidance and toward a more distant, observational role. This transition reflects the broader theme of autonomy and growth, as the people of Scadrial are increasingly required to take responsibility for their own destiny. Perhaps the most intriguing development in the novel's conclusion is the continued presence of Kelsier, the survivor, whose influence extends far beyond what was previously understood. Operating through secret networks and long-term plans, Kelsier represents a different approach to power and intervention, one that is more proactive and less constrained than Harmony's. His involvement hints at future conflicts and possibilities, suggesting that the story of Scadrial is far from complete. The remnants of the set, though weakened, are not entirely eradicated. Their connection to autonomy ensures that they, or similar organizations, may continue to pose a threat. This lingering danger reinforces the idea that the events of the Lost Metal are not an endpoint, but a transition into a new phase of the world's history. The characters have achieved a significant victory, but the challenges ahead will require continued vigilance and adaptation. In the final reflections of the story, there is a sense of both loss and hope. Wayne's sacrifice stands as a defining moment, a reminder of the power of individual choice and the impact one person can have on the world. For Wax and his companions, this loss is a source of pain, but also a catalyst for growth. It strengthens their resolve to continue fighting for a better future, even in the face of uncertainty. Ultimately, the Lost Metal brings the second era of Mistborn to a close by weaving together its central themes: the balance between power and responsibility, the tension between control and freedom, and the importance of human connection in a changing world. Through its characters and their struggles, the novel explores what it means to act with purpose in the face of overwhelming odds. As Scadrial moves forward, it does so with a greater awareness of its place in a larger universe, one shaped by forces both seen and unseen. Wax, Marasi, Steris, and the memory of Wayne stand at the center of this evolving narrative, embodying the resilience and determination needed to face whatever challenges lie ahead.
Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more videos.